first exercise I will ask people is, if you already have $1 billion in your bank account, you don't worry about money, you don't worry about a thing, you are healthy, happy, everything. What would you do? Will you still doing this exact thing that you do today? I will still meditate, no matter how much money I have. I still will tell people they should go meditate. If you can answer that question with clarity, like that's really close to what you're here to do. I will still do painting. No matter my painting sells or not, I'm still painting. So that's like, that you are in alignment with your soul's purpose.
Welcome to Passion Struck. Hi, I'm your host, John R. Miles, and on the show, we decipher the secrets, tips, and guidance of the world's most inspiring people and turn their wisdom into practical advice for you and those around you. Our mission is to help you unlock the power of intentionality so that you can become the best version of yourself. If you're new to the show, I offer advice and answer listener questions on Fridays. We have long-form interviews the rest of the week with guests ranging from astronauts to authors, CEOs, creators, innovators, scientists, military leaders, visionaries, and athletes. Now, let's go out there and become Passion Struck. I am absolutely thrilled today to welcome Helen Ye Plehn to Passion Struck. Welcome, Helen. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you, John, for having me today.
Helen, you have such a rich background. Yoga, feng shui, painting, energy work. What was the spark that led you to go down the path of investing in all of these rich things that have ingrained your life?
That's such a great question. I think my wake-up call, I call it my wake-up call, is in 2011. At the time, I was actually in a PhD program that I was born to do because I was born and raised in China and moved to the US for higher degree education. That's when I realized that I was walking my parents' expectation, or say the society's expectation of me. So you just, like, in terms of having a successful life or a proper job, you need to become either a PhD, a dentist, a lawyer, accountant, if you're not an astronaut, okay? So that was the path I was on all the way until I was in the PhD program. And then I realized, what the heck I'm doing here right now? That was 2011. I think I was around 26, 27, and I had severe anxiety and depression. That was like, I was almost there. And I had a lot of pressure under like publish or perish paradigm in academia world. And I frequent therapist office. And I remember there was one time I did a psychology evaluation, and the therapy asked me, well, you're such a free spirit. Why are you doing statistical analysis? What are you doing? So that was my wake up call of starting to ask, who am I? Why am I here? And how can I truly be happy? And from then on, I went on a deep self-discovery journey. And the first stop was the yoga and meditation teacher training. I just feel drawn to it. And at the time, I live in Philadelphia. So there is a yoga studio, actually the oldest yoga studio in Philadelphia. It happens to be, right? So I went there, and then I told the teacher that I'm completely lost. What can I do? And he offered me the teacher training. He said that you might find the answer inside. And I'm like, sure. And I remember the first time I did meditation within a group, I was crying like a baby. I've never done any spiritual practice at all at the time, let alone meditation. But I was crying so much, I was releasing so much fear, guilt, doubt, a lot of stuff. And then I get hooked on meditation from then on. And 3 months after my daily meditation, only 20 minutes a day, I was off all anxiety and depression medication I was on at that time. I was so bad that I actually visited an ER due to panic attack. And because of that miracle, I'm like, wow, meditation can actually become your medication. So from that on, I just do daily meditation every single day, never stop till now. It's almost 15 years, 14, 15 years I've been doing it. That's the beginning. And then in terms of from my career, I switched to interior architecture and design. So basically, I went back to school for my second degree because then we moved to California. In order to practice architecture, I need a license. So I need a formal degree to do that, which I absolutely love. And it's in between that analytical mind and creative mind. So steering me towards more a creative side of myself with my technical skills. And then that kind of spurred into feng shui. I incorporating more of the feng shui into my practice because I was born a third generation feng shui master. I just am born and live in that environment. I just know what to do actually. And from then on, it evolved into painting and art because a lot of my clients just asked me to do custom design for them according to their feng shui birth element and the energy, the complement to them. So it's like organic in terms of for my art practice to evolve. And at the same time, parallel that my spiritual practice never stopped because once I got hooked on meditation, I started to learn all the spiritual wisdom to know myself. I still remember my first Vedic astrology reading. I didn't know Christopher. I still remember his name. I didn't know him at all. And he would look at my chart. He said that, Helen, this life, your dharma, so your soul's purpose, this lifetime is to create. And I'm like, okay, this guy doesn't know me at all. And he can just look at my birthday and tell me every single thing that I need to know about my life. So that's when I started to study Vedic astrology, Western astrology, Genie keys, Enneagram, human design. Like you name it, I've studied it. Like to the point that it's almost like a research, like go back to the PhD research. It's just fascinating to me. It's wow, it's a wealth of knowledge that I want to dig deep. And I become a certified crystal healer. And from that, all that spiritual practice, I think in 2018, I had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. So it's about 7 years in at a time. 2011 is when I started, and 2018 is when I had that surreal Kundalini awakening. I wasn't prepared for it, but that's when my third eye began to wide open. Now, if you ask me 10 years ago if I believe in angels and spirits and all that stuff, I would tell you that no, they don't exist. Okay. So I wasn't born anything near to psychic. Okay. I was born really much in the 3D realm. But because I begin to tune in to see auras, to see the spirit realm, my perspective shift hugely. So from then on, I also incorporate spiritual teaching in my business besides painting and feng shui. It's a little bit a long story, but that's encompassed my personal journey to where I'm at today.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Yongey Mingyur Rinpoche. He's a Buddhist monk, and I had him on the podcast a number of weeks ago, and he told me a similar story that when he was younger, panic attacks were really controlling his life, and he got into the practice of mindfulness to better control them. And now he sees that the panic attacks were just a kind of a placeholder to get him where he needed to go in his spiritual journey. So I love that both your stories kind of line up like that.
Oh, it's
So,
definitely, I feel that way as well.
Helen, I really appreciate the fact that you took the time to read my book, Passion Struck. And I open up the book in the first mindset shift that you need to do, talking about that we really need to find our purpose in life. And I talk about the mask in this chapter that you indicated you were wearing that I felt I was wearing. And you describe yourself as a soul purpose catalyst, which is why I brought this up. What does that mean to you? Because I think of it in a very similar way. I came at it in a different, from a different perspective, but I think we're talking about a similar thing. And how can someone know when they're out of alignment with their soul's purpose?
Absolutely love it. Yeah, I actually thoroughly enjoy reading your book, John, because as you mentioned, we are just literally talking about the same thing from a different angle. And the sixth mindset, like you mentioned, the 12 principles in your book to find your soul's purpose, it's literally like what I mentioned in the six aura colors. It really coincide, no matter it's from mindset and action. I just talking about it from an energy level standpoint. Now, going back to your question, If you ask, how do you feel like you are misaligned or you're not in alignment with your soul's purpose, that you feel like, remember, I use this quote, I think Oprah Winfrey had once said that if you are not really doing what your soul is supposed to do, first, life will throw you some pebbles. And later on, if you're still not choosing what your soul is supposed to do, it begin to throw you some rocks. And those are the extreme situation. From a physical standpoint, it can manifest it into even cancer, that you're not doing what you're doing. For me, it was panic attack, right? So it can be different symptoms, but something that you're really misalignment. Now, from a mental or an emotional standpoint, you're basically not happy. You're feeling lost, you're not fulfilled, even though maybe you have a great job or great status, a lot of money, but you're still feeling empty inside. That's from an emotional or mental standpoint. And from a spiritual standpoint, you feel really disconnected, like disconnected either with spirit or with your ancestors, or basically disconnected with a realm that is higher than your personal self, right? Because if you are really going with your mission, you know that not only for your fame or for or the money, it's not about money and fame. It's like you're so passionate about this thing. This is literally your first principle of the mindset, is that you're so passionate about it. If you don't do this a day, you feel you literally feel lost. You have to do it, and you do it for the highest good, literally for everybody else. It's the oneness principle that I want to bring in. It's like we're not disconnected with everybody. Like, even though, a great question, I think very similar to what you asked. The first exercise I will ask people is that if you already have $1 billion in your bank account, you don't worry about money, you don't worry about a thing, you're healthy, happy, everything. What would you do? Will you still doing this exact thing that you do today? I will still meditate no matter how much money I have. I still will tell people they should go meditate. Same thing. If you can answer that question with clarity, like, that's really close to what you're here to do. I will still do painting. No matter my painting sells or not, I'm still painting. So that's like, that you are in alignment with your soul's purpose.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Helen. And today we are discussing your brand new book, came out on July 15th. It's called The Aura Color Wheel: What Your Soul's Aura Reveals About Your Inner Gifts, Wounds, and Lessons. And this is the second podcast I've done on Passion Struck about auras. The first one was with my friend Amy Lee McCree. And I shared with her that earlier in my life, I ended up having a couple traumatic brain injuries. And after I experienced one of those, it awakened, like you were saying, maybe a third eye inside of me. And I started to see auras. And at first, it really freaked me out because I didn't understand it until I did more research on it. But in your introduction of the book, you say your aura isn't just energy, it's a soul's story in motion. Can you unpack that for listeners who are unfamiliar with auras?
Definitely. Aura is the electromagnetic field around you. We, like every living thing, including plants and animals, and of course human, we all have it. It's just that subtle energy field that vibrate, electric and magnetic. Now, I want to mention there that there were three types of aura. So meaning there are three types of electromagnetic field around you. The first type is what's called the mood aura. Now, the mood aura change and shift all the time, and it's around your face. Just like some people will mention that, oh, your face is turning red, right? So that indicates this person is either being shy or really angry. So like you can intuitively, even if you cannot see it in your third eye, maybe you can perceive it, right? So that's your mood aura. That changes all the time. And there's another type of aura that's semi-permanent called the personality aura. Now, personality aura is typically around your head, like on top of your head. And that tells me whether a person is an outgoing person, introvert, whether it's a analytical person or intuitive person. It's semi-permanent, but it only shift and changes when there's big events in your life, literally alter your personality a little bit, right? So it's a little bit more permanent. Now, when I mentioned that the soul story or emotion, that's your soul aura. Your soul aura is around your heart chakra, literally in the center of your chest. Now, that particular energy, it's when your soul incarnated, no matter you believe in incarnation or not, which I do, it's literally when your soul is resigns. So that it tells me, so what is energy? Energy is just information that vibrates, okay? Just which organ goes to particular part inside of your body, this energy, this soul aura energy tells me that your soul has a total sum of gifts, wounds, and lessons that incarnated from accumulated past lives. So that's the particular energy or the particular color that it radiates, because different energy has different frequency and wavelength, thus coincide with different color. So it tells me three key pieces of information about you. It tells me what you're born like really strong with, and what is your wound, what you're here to heal, and what the lessons are here to learn. Now, how do we have these auras or this energy field? It's powered by the seven main energy centers along our spine. So in Indian traditions, we call them the chakras. So those are the seven major powerhouse of the aura layers, but that doesn't mean that's the only one. There are actually more than that. But those seven main aura layers coincide with the rainbow, like the rainbow colors from red to violet. Those are the main powerhouse of our aura. And your soul aura tells me literally like what you're here to do. Because if that's your gift, for example, I'm born as an artist soul gift archetype. I wasn't an artist when I went all the way to my PhD studies, right? That's more suitable for a researcher, soul gift archetype. So if you are in alignment of that, it helps you to kick down a lot of imposter syndrome to do what your soul is here to be of service. So that's what the soul aura tells me about you.
I'm going to jump from the beginning of the book to the end of the book. And so I remember a number of years ago, I was going through a healing process, and I had a healer who was examining me, and she was telling me that I had two spirit guides who were very strong in my life, who were trying to, I wouldn't say block her, but she was doing Reiki on me, but
Uh-huh.
they were really putting up a wall to protect me. And in chapter 18, you write that there are 9 types of spiritual guides with whom we can connect with and call upon for assistance. For someone who might not necessarily believe in these things that's listening to this, how
Yes.
can you make this more real for it? Because earlier in my life, I didn't really believe in these things, but once I started doing more spiritual work, it really opened me up to re-examine how I was looking at the whole universe.
Oh, yes, that's my perspective shift. Thank you for sharing that, John. Same with you. Like at the beginning of my life, I didn't trust this. If it's not for my Kundalini awakening, or probably not for your accident that happened, that you open up your third eye, you wouldn't believe this. So, from a practical standpoint, if you can tune in, I feel this the strongest, like with spirit, actually, with in nature. If you feel awe, a sense of awe in nature while you're climbing up the mountain, or while you're in the forest, or while you're near the ocean, something that strike really subtle in you, even though you don't know what's a spirit team, what doesn't matter. You feel a sense of awe. And you know that something magical or something bigger, that's or more powerful, it's connecting with you, holding you, or something. That's basically the energy of spirit is talking to you. And that's like the first sense. If you don't you want to, and then if you try to play with it, because it's subtle energy, so the more meditation practice you do, that you be able to calm your mind, right, the easier that you can receive these subtleties. And then the first step that I would say, and even for me, is seeing colors. They were thumbs up, is seeing auras. So if you don't identify as specific, like an angel name or things like that, you will see things with different colors. And those are the energy they naturally radiate. Like, for example, if you allow me, John, like I can sense Archangel Michael is really strong with you. Like he is an angel with indigo blue ray of light. And like he's the angel of protection. And some of my students or clients coming from, some have religious backgrounds. I do not grow up religious, but you learn some of the names, some of the who's which angel and what they do. And that's also a good beginning point to learn maybe their names and things like that. And the more you tune in to that nature spirit, or during your meditation you're seeing the energy, and sometimes you studying from the books and things like that, like my chapter 18 I mentioned, I literally have a list of all of them. Then you coincide, you know their correspondence. And then I will play. I would recommend anybody that you don't believe it yet, that's my first step. I play with them. What did I do is that I, in my meditation, I said a prayer, or you just talk to them. I said that, okay, guardian angel, I heard everybody said that you're here, but I don't know, who you are. Can you show me a sign? Can you show me a sign that's so specific that only I will know that you're talking to me? At the time, I had asked for a sign of an orchid flower because that's my father's favorite flower. He passed away when I was 19, and I still hold him in really dear in my heart. So then, because I live in Southern California, orchid is everywhere in the supermarkets. And my guardian angel know that if you just sold me an orchid flower, that's not special enough. And what he did play with me. So one day I was cleaning my closet. We're moving from Northern California to Southern California. I clean up my closet, and an orchid, a dry orchid flower coming out from my yoga teacher training manual. It was dry and fell off. And what my body knows, I instinctively have this tingling sensation. It's almost like you're in shock or something. You have that shaking sensation. And my eyes are almost bursting into tears. I wasn't crying, but I had that emotion response. If that triggers something inside of your heart, you're super emotional. It's almost like holding your first baby or something like that. That's freaking truth. You cannot lie that sensation. So I will say that's a great entry point, that sense of awe, that feeling. And pretty much like 95% of my students and clients who are not like don't believe in anything woo and came to my class, I asked them to try to talk to their guides like that. They all say that, yeah, I see on the corner that literally says angel there, but they never, that sign was never up. And then the other day I was driving in the car, I look up on the sky, I see a clearly face of my ancestor that no, but of course no one knows, and things like that. That's how they are communicating with you, because the first step is that you have to open and give permission. It's almost okay, I'm going to play, let's see if this is going to happen. And once you get a little bit of more of that, then you realize, okay, let me surrender and maybe I can tune in more. And that 9 type of guys that I channel in my book, it's through the almost like 6 or 7 years of accumulation. It's like playing like this to get them up. And I remember the first type is angels. I mentioned about them. And then there's also your ancestors. That's the second type of guy. And there's also star beings. You can tune into the star systems like at nighttime. If you're visiting Sedona, it's a really clear sky. You can talk to star beings. With animals, there's also animal guides and fairies, elementals, the waters, the flowers, the nature, as well as I call them the temporary guides. The temporary guides are expert guides that come here to help you with a specific project. Like I see a lot of them behind surgeons when they're doing surgery, doctors, same with me writing a book, music composers. So those are the expert guides. And there were two more like deities, as well as goddess and ascended masters that have walked the path like Jesus Christ and Buddha. So those are the guys that I mentioned in the book that you can call out to actually literally help you open your third eye to see them, to communicate with them. I hope this helps as the beginning to play with them and how to communicate with them.
I just found it was really interesting how you went through those. And then in chapter 18, you started talking about ascended masters and ancestors, the role of deities, nature spirits, fairies, animal spirits, star beings, expert guides, etc. It seems if you want to connect with your spirit team, you have to do what you mentioned earlier. You have to tune in and give them permission to take action. Why is that such an essential step?
That's very important because remember, like at the beginning, I didn't even trust it. I don't even believe it's here. It's a belief. Going back to the first principle of a belief, it's such an important thing because in the spirit realm, now I am able to tune in. So now I know because it runs in free will. They won't give you anything unless you're willing to open to receive it. So they won't just like, yeah, I'm here to protect you, but if you are like, you're not giving me permission, I'm not going to bother you in your life. Because in the spirit realm, they run in free will. So it's a choice. Like you can choose to live your, I still remember, like, do you want to choose this to live your passion? Or do you want to choose this to just be good enough? So the same thing in the spirit realm is, do you choose to try? Now, when I mentioned like at the beginning, I'm literally like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and it's totally okay. If you are just open, teeny little bit open, it's already good enough. They are like, okay, this soul is already teeny bit open for me. Let me give him some hint, and I'll give him some more if he's open even more. And now I would say that I'm completely 100% surrender. When you let go, and that's actually probably a lot of the Buddhist practice is about. It's literally to surrender your ego and be in alignment with spirit. And miracles always happens. Just a book, just literally just like how I get into publish this book with Hay House. It's completely guided by spirit. It's funny, like I literally received once I channel the full system. I haven't had a full book yet, but I was in a channeling mode. I've written down. It's at my automatic writing practice. I literally have an email drop in my mailbox from Hay House. And I never signed up their email list at the beginning. Like I read a lot of books from their authors, but I didn't sign up for the weekly email or whatever. All of a sudden, email drops in saying that, hey, we have a writers community and welcome people who want to publish with us to join. And of course, it's a competition. So basically, you submit your book proposal, and whoever wins got the contract. And I literally just say that, okay, thank you, Spirit, for telling me what's the next step. So I find out, and it's almost like you let Spirit guide you. I would say that's like the next step up. Once you choose what your soul needs to do and you're on that path and you're opening up for Spirit, they will tell you. They will literally tell you what's the next step and what's the next step. And actually, to be honest, to me, it really released my fear because you know that I don't have to control everything and it's okay and I'm taken care of. That really is a huge release because you know that someone else is, they're looking out for you. They're looking out for your benefit. And you don't need to be so tired and working and trying so hard to do that. So that's why I feel like now it's flowing. I call it flowing the rainbow. This life is much, much better.
Helen, thank you for sharing that. And I love the use of metaphors. And you had a great metaphor in the book for the way spirit guidance works. You say you compare it to the headlight of a car. And you say it's similar to wanting to drive from, let's just say, LA to San Francisco. And when you're driving at night, you can't really see that far ahead. You only
Yeah,
know the general direction that you want to go north.
right.
And you say spirit guidance is like that. It shows you the next step towards the headlight of the car. Maybe it shows you a few feet ahead of you, but it's not going to show you the whole way.
That's
So it
exactly right.
because it requires you to let go of control. And I think that's the important part that I wanted to focus on is it's so hard for so many of us to let go of that control. What is your advice for how people can take that step that is so hard for so many of us?
Wow, it's such a great question because it's so hard for me as well, John, especially for high achievers. I would say like people who want to achieve greatness, like who wants to become successful. And if you are in this podcast, I know your audience would love to hear this, because I'm one of you, and it's so hard for me. Like my early, like I would say like my early 20 some years, all the achievement, it's like I plan it out. It's I need to finish this, I finish this, and then I achieve this, right? And if I use the same method, it's like publishing a book, right? Finding a good public house. I would list out all the potential published houses. I will maybe find a book agent. I will list it out. I will contact them and all that. Now, I'm not saying that this is not a method to do so. Yes, if it is in alignment with you, can definitely do that. But I'm just saying that this way of doing things is like you are forcing, not forcing, but like you are in control, or in, you're always worrying whether it's going to work almost. So that's why it generates anxiety. Okay. Now the other way, the surrender or let go of your control way of living, is that you tell the universe, this is what I want, because I see this is of great benefit for everybody else around me. This is something that I'm really here to create. And the universe knows. And the tricky part is that they just show you, literally just show you one step ahead. And you have to take that leap of faith, that first step. And then they will tell you more about it. They just literally, like in my meditation, they said that I need to channel a book for soul evolution. And then it doesn't mean I don't know who am I going to publish. Like I will ask my mind, will ask 1,000 questions. Oh, is this going to be published? Is it going to work? Is it going to make money? And things like that, right? But you have to control your mind to let this noise go. And sometimes it's helpful to write all of those noise down, to tune them down. When they come in your mind again and say, oh, my ego is talking like this again. But then on the same hand, on the same token, your spirit or your heart says that just take this step and you will know what is going to do the next. And they do tell me what's next. They drop the email. They let me meet John, but because we're doing the same thing to get on the podcast to promote the book. And I've met a lot of useful people along the way. The opportunity to present a book without me even like trying really hard. Of course, I need to take the action to write the email, but it's not, oh, I have like 10 lists of something to do that, right? So I would say at the beginning, if it is really hard, just do one experiment. Just to take that one leap of faith, no matter what project you're working on, and see the miracles unfold in your eyes. Literally just see one thing. And that will make you believe that next time when I run this again, let me try one more time. And then that one more time becomes two, that becomes three. And now I would say I'm 90% there. I'm still not 100%, but I'm 90% there. Now I want to just share a recent story. Literally, it happened this week, like before our interview. Is that my spirit guide says that you need to take off and take a vacation, go out somewhere. You cannot, because I was working like before the book launch, how focused you are. I'm going back to that. I need to do, I have 10 this, I need to hit this, I need to hit that, I need to do that. And then my spirit guide said, no, Helen, you need to take a break. You're going to burn out soon. And then I'm like, literally last week, I need to step out for a week, almost a week. And then what happened is that I created a music track. It's my clear audience working. I created a music track to guide a chakra dance movement to embody this energy. And that particular piece of music is the original track. It's much more valuable. Like from a 3D realm, it's a side track because I wasn't doing all the gazillion things you need to do to launch your book, but I'm doing something else. It doesn't make sense. At the time, they only tell me that I need to take a break. It didn't tell me that I will create a musical track. I wish they tell you that you become, this. They didn't do that. But because I took the action, they showed me the next step. They showed me the musician to collaborate with. I was so much fun. And in the end, it's going to create so much value to my work. So that's from the story side. And from a wisdom standpoint, I would summarize it as a divine feminine and divine masculine. So like the 3D, the ego is the masculine, the action, the structure, We need that. I'm not depreciating that. But at the same time, you need to let your intuition, need to let the spirit, need to let your soul play a role in this balance, just like the yin and the yang balance. And that when that really balance well, now you still take the action, huh? I'm not saying that you just meditate every day, everything will come to you. No, you still need to take the action, but at the same time, you let them guide you, and that makes it a perfect harmony. And life is so easy because you begin to feel fun, you begin to have joy, you begin to feel fulfilled instead of pushing really hard to get to your goal. I hope this makes sense.
It absolutely does. Helen, I want to go back to the earlier chapters of the book. In the book, you identify 36 aura colors, and I don't want you to go through all of them. What I wanted you to answer is, can your aura color change over time, and what might cause it to shift?
Yes, very good question. Actually, I didn't mention it, the three different type of auras. And yes, even your soul aura color, although is the most permanent of the three, that's where your soul is born in this body, what the color is, but it still can change and shift. That's only when you either heal a soul wound or learn a soul lesson. So how this aura color will comes from is literally the six aura layers within your body. I did that. It's not included the crown chakra because the crown chakra is how you connect with spirit. So we're working on from the root chakra all the way to the third eye. So those six aura layers, two of them are your strong aura layers, meaning that you're born with them strong already. And those are the color that you naturally radiate. Now there is one that is your wound. So it can be any of the six aura layers, that's your wound. If your root chakra is your wound, maybe you have ancestral trauma, maybe you feel fearful, insecure, and physical symptoms, things like that. Now, that particular aura layer, if you are consciously choosing to work on it, to heal it, then you will change your aura color and as well as your gift archetype to a different aura color. Because right now, then the red aura layer is no longer your wound. Now your aura color, it's also raising the red aura layer. Now, for example, I am born with tangerine aura color, so it's a shade of orange. My wound is actually in the blue aura layer. And yes, like Miss Helen you met today is Helen 5.0. So if you ask me whether I'm so comfortable doing public speaking like this, I would say no. I wouldn't even speak up my truth because I choose confirmation instead of confrontation. That's why I was born in China. I don't want to speak up as a woman. But because the more I practice the spiritual practice, like sound bath, speaking affirmation, Louise Hay helped me a lot to do practice affirmation to really speak up what I mean instead of doing yes from the society. That's when I heal this. Now, when I heal this, now I can become a teacher archetype because teacher archetype is when your blue aura layer is actually strong. So your soul, my soul aura from tangerine now is leaning towards lilac. So it's a shade of blue purple. So the short answer is yes. The longer answer is why this is happening. It's because when you heal a wound or learn a particular lesson, that's associated with a particular aura layer. Now, the cool thing is in my book, if you are on YouTube, I actually map out every single aura layer. You literally choose your own adventure game. I love this map. It's like it tells you if you're born this, if you heal a particular aura layer, you become this. And then if you like heal another aura layer, you become this. And then when you have two or more to select, it's your free will. You can choose to embody whatever you want. And at the end of the day, okay, the end goal of the book is literally enlightenment. What does it mean? It's literally to embody your light. So it means that all seven aura layers are strong because you already heal all the wounds, learn all the lessons. And those are all the ascended masters like Jesus Christ and Buddha. They walked the human path. They went through all the lessons and wounds. And the end, they radiate white or gold aura color. That's it. Like it's the end goal is to consciously working on all the aura layers and all of us become white or gold light. There is no like we are radiate different color. It's because we have some are stronger compared to the others. I hope this is pretty intuitive, right? If you are
Yep.
strong in orange, you cannot be also strong in blue, right? But once your blue is coming, is that yin and the yang coming back again, you are whole. So that's why.
So I want to tie into something that you talked about a few minutes ago. You were talking about healing, and in the book, you mentioned that we're not just here to heal, but we're here to express. How does the aura color wheel help people move from healing, like you were talking about, to creative embodiment?
Yes. So there are two sides of the puzzle. It's one side is to heal the weaker aura layers, and the other side is to express the stronger aura layers. Now, for example, if I'm born an artist, I'm not doing art, I'm not doing my soul any good, right? And those strong aura layers will dim, meaning, literally meaning dimming your light. So if you're not doing if you're born a visionary, you're not leading, if you're born a teacher and you're not teaching, then your light will dim. So it's like you want the stronger light within you to shine even brighter. That's when the expression comes out. So that's when I mentioned that you heal a lot of imposter syndrome. So like people, if you are born an entertainer, soul gift archetype, you go sing, you go act, you go, if they started to doubt whether I'm good enough, whether this and whether that, and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then their light is going to dim. So then the aura color is going to become muddy and gray out. So that's why it's also important to embody your personal soul gift archetype. Now, there are 9 soul gift archetypes that's universal. It's funny, after I channel this system, I'm like, why 9? And then I refer back to a lot of Asian traditional wisdoms like Enneagram, even Genie Keys. They are all like the 9 seems like the universal number. And there are 9 soul gift archetypes that you can born with. So that's why, it's great that if you take the quiz in the book or on my website, helencreatesbeauty.com, to identify what is your soul gift when you are born, and literally choose. You need to consciously choose in alignment with that particular archetype. Now, even within artist soul gift archetype, you can do so many things. It can be painting, right? It doesn't have to be painting. You can be a dancer, right? You can be a musician, right? Anything that's related to expressing your artistic gifts, that's what you're embodying it. Now, I remember in the book, I also mentioned Jessica is one of my students using this aura color wheel system. Her wound was born in she has a soul wound in the yellow aura layer powered by the solar plexus. She has lack of confidence or lack of personal power. And then we work on a lot of the spiritual practice that mentioned to heal the yellow aura layer. She was born a magenta soul aura color in the artist soul gift archetype. So once that particular aura layer is healed to a certain degree, she was bursting in. Actually, now she's a Broadway dancer. That's what her dream is all her life. But because of the imposter syndrome that she's not good enough and I may not be able to do it and things like that, that's when she started to dim her light. But I would say that healing and expressing, they are going hand in hand. It's, for example, if I don't heal my wound, even though I'm an artist, I won't be a good confidently to express or to market my work. If my throat is still like really weak, I won't be telling people about my wonderful work. And it's going in hand. It's at the same time you're expressing it and healing at the same time. So it will, and then it can move together, if that makes sense.
We've discussed a lot today, and we've just walked through discovering your soul aura color. We've gone through the different archetypes. So, someone goes through the book and discovers those things for themselves. How do they begin to use this information in real life as a compass?
I make it really practical because I like wisdom and at the same time I like practicality. So in the book, I think it's on chapter 2 or chapter 3, there was a list of all possible practices. It's in chapter 2, actually. Now I'm looking at it. You can self-diagnose and do self-practice. I call it your go-to aura layer health guide. So you literally can self-diagnose first. whether it's a physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual symptom that you're experiencing, so you know what's going out of balance. And then there is a list of all holistic energy medicine I mentioned, that they are including Veda, like diet wise, what should you eat? Food is medicine to help, especially if your aura layer have physical symptoms. That's really important. And then there was crystals, because I'm also a crystal healer, so I know that really help with your energy standpoint. Yoga poses, herbs and flowers like tea, that herbal tea that you can intake. And then also feng shui, like feng shui directions, like where you eat naturally, you inhale that particular chi in your aura. Also the solfeggio frequency music, so you can listen to particular solfeggio frequency. I would recommend you to just play that music while you work on your computers as a background music. If that particular aura layer is out of balance, just play that all day long. And then of course I mentioned also archangels and spirit guides. You can call out those angels and spirit guides. Hey, I am working on this particular, now that's more spiritual practice. I'm working on this right now. And I know from Helen's book that you're the angel helping with this, right? Talk to them just like that. And then give me a sign, like showing me that you're working with me to help me heal this particular aura layer. Now I list out from literally from food, like physical body, to energy body, to spiritual body, like all the possible practices that you can do to help heal that particular aura layer. Even that aura layer is strong, you might still be out of balance, that you might need to have that. And everybody resonate with different things. Some people really like the solfeggio frequency, like the and binary beats. Some people really like to practice yoga. Some people like the food, like they take that particular food. Some people just like to talk to angels and spirit guides. That's fine. Everyone has a different thing, but I listed there. I like the toolbox approach. Just like in your medicine cabinet, right? You're not going to take every possible from headache pill to band-aids, right? At the same time, but you have it there. You have the book, you have it there. So when next time you're so familiar with yourself, self-awareness and introspection is so important. Just like you mentioned in your book, Passion Strike, right? That's such an important thing. If you're aware, oh, I have this headache, but this time it's in the frontal instead of the back. Okay, so this might be related to the third eye, right? To the third eye aura layer. So let me see what are the tools that's possible to heal this particular thing. Like things like that. Once you're aware where your energy is leaking, like which aura layer you need help with, then you know what tool, what's the tool to the medicine cabinet. Okay, I want this, I want that. So that's my toolbox approach to answer that question.
And finally, Helen, since you brought up Passion Struck and you've read the book,
Yeah,
how do you define a life that's passion struck?
it's very similar to what you had written in the book. It's literally to choose, to consciously or intentionally choose what's in alignment with your soul's purpose. We can always choose the comfortable, we can always choose the good enough, we can always choose, what's familiar. But to live a passion strike life, that's like really tap into your untapped potential. You need to choose what's in alignment with your passion, with your mission, and let spirit guide you. Surrender and be okay with uncertainty. Be okay that you don't know the full picture of what the end goal is, but this is the next step I have to take towards the mission. And then you will see, when you get to that mountaintop, you will understand, wow, this is what it's all about. It's just like you climbing up the mountain, you don't see the top yet. You see the step in front of you, or maybe a few foot ahead, right? But this is the guidance for you to keep choosing. When there is a stopping point, yes, you can take a break, don't worry. Sometimes you can take a break, you can take a detour, but at the end of the day, consciously choose what is really resonate with your soul.
Thank you for sharing that. And where's the best place for a listener to go to learn more about you?
I offer everything. It's on my website homepage, helencreatesbeauty.com. See, my dharma is to create. So that's why it's helencreatesbeauty.com.
Helen, it was such an honor to have you today, and congratulations on your fantastic new book, The Aura Color Wheel: What Your Soul's Aura Reveals About Your Inner Gifts, Wounds, and Lessons. I highly encourage the audience to pick up a copy, and we'll have it in the show notes for them to consume it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, John, for having me.